Hello, and welcome to the Loki podcast, where we discuss the direct-to-streaming Disney Plus series Loki, starring Tom Hiddleston. I'm Michael Hayes, and I'll be your Hayes man for the morning. The last episode of what we now know is just season 1 dropped this morning, and yeah, a lot of big reveals happened. Some stuff happened. It was certainly better than episode 5. Allow me to continue. If you want to catch up on the podcast or my other podcast, Guilty Treasures, a bad movie beatdown, please go to xraygames.com. There's a hyphen in X-ray because he who remains said it should be there. I also have a Patreon page. You can check it out there. This episode is completely devoted to the wrap-up, the conclusion of Sylvie's story. The fact of the matter is that a lot of people have been looking towards Kang the Conqueror as being the big reveal villain at the end of this show. And, you know, I agree with them. But I wasn't watching the show just to see if my fandom would be validated by them showing a relatively obscure villain from the Fantastic Four. Just to get everything on the table, Disney now soundly owns Fox, which means that the X-Men and the Fantastic Four are back on the table to be incorporated into the MCU at any time. The show is part of the MCU. This, okay. I had problems with last week's episode. Last week's episode had a lot of fun stuff. It had various Lokis, had a Loki party, and it was very visually arresting. And I'm sure a lot of people liked it. I did not, because even though they moved people around, their characters didn't move. And I kind of felt like I was being slighted like that. Okay. In interest of full disclosure, I've been catching up on Game of Thrones. I never actually finished the series. I have been catching up on it on HBO Max, a competing streaming service to Disney Plus. And yeah, each episode is better than any episode of Loki because characters move not just physical location, but they move ahead in terms of character. Now, sometimes they take a step back. A lot of times they get killed. But that still is character movement, not just character displacement. Okay, so as I said, Sylvie and Loki were pretty much in the same place emotionally as they were in the episode before that. There's definitely is some improvement here. And once again, it is also visually arresting. It's a very beautiful episode, okay? And the actor, what's his name? Jonathan, what is it? The actor who plays He Who Remains is great. I think that, like Tom Hiddleston, he has a long and great career in the MCU, and I'd be really happy to see him again. If you told me that Ant-Man 3 had him as the villain, I would definitely buy a ticket. Might even physically go to a theater, as sadly rare as that is nowadays. But Yeah, it's not. Okay, so it turns out that Sylvie and Loki have irreconcilable differences. They come to a head, they argue over what to do with He Remains. He gives them a choice to either take his place in his throne of authoritarianism or tear the system down and, see what happens. He claims that he is a super genius, also very handsome, from the 31st century, and that many of his infinite clones are world-destroying conquerors. And so the real secret of the TVA is the TVA was meant to stop themselves. It's a kind of like an alcoholics, what do you call it, rehab, lockdown, or whatever, to stop Kang, Jonathan Majors, yeah, that's it, to curb his more concrete impulses. So yeah, Kang the Conqueror set only one sacred timeline because that timeline, versions of himself would not go crazy doing cross-dimension conquering. So, it's a pretty good twist. It's a pretty good story, but yeah, I'm just not feeling it. Yeah, I think so. Sylvie made a move. Jonathan Major made a move. Loki made a move. Loki is now in the character place where he genuinely wants to be a good person and save the universe. And Sylvie just wanted her revenge. And Sylvie got what she wanted and Loki didn't. So it was all just a big setup for season 2. Nothing was really resolved. Nothing was really settled. I don't think the new good Loki is any gooder or better than the good Loki that died in Avengers Endgame. So I'm just going to have to cut it off there. And I guess we'll resume this with the season 2 of the podcast. God, I love the production design, the special effects, and the acting, but they're just not moving the characters enough. Are they afraid of stepping on the movie's toes? Are these TV shows subservient to the blockbuster movies? Are people even going to go to the movie theater anymore to see blockbusters? It raises a lot of questions inside and outside of the narrative. So overall, I'd say I like Loki less than Winter Soldier and WandaVision. It was really sad because I was looking forward to this the most. But unlike the others, they're working on season 2. Like right now, season 2. So I guess we'll catch up later. This is not the end. Until later, have a Jonathan Majors day.